All right, let's start standing. All right, let's start standing, guys. Take a moment just to stand up nice and tall. Maybe shake your body out. You know, I like stuff like this, or just kind of, loosening up. And, it's been about a week and a half since we did the squatting. And when I look at the best things for like lower back, knees, ankles, and then just overall full body warm up, you got to do a little air squatting. So nice inhale. Start your breath work here, okay? Exhale. Remember that at the top, guys, you want to really squeeze your butt and even push your hips forward, okay? So it's inhale, kind of like a chair, exhale. Don't squat too deep to start. It can just be like this. Notice my arms are moving. Don't think like your deepest range. Even though I can squat easily all the way down, a lot of times I don't, especially in warm-up, okay? I will some days, but so this is that first version. It's called the push-pull. So as my arms go forward, that's considered like a push. And then as I exhale, it's considered like a pull. That's really good, guys, okay? And you get a few more in at your own pace. Remember that we've done ways where we hold the arms, we've done ways where we circle the arms. I've also had you do ways where you widen your knees a little bit more, okay? You turn your feet out. That's called a transverse squat. As long as we're bending our knees, moving our arms, we're doing good, okay? I'm not gonna be too technical here. There's also a sagittal squat. So if you wanted to step one foot like a little bit back, that literally is like an asymmetrical squat. That's gonna warm up your legs in a lot of different ways. So say I'm warming up dynamically. I will take a few really aligned, right? And then I'll widen my feet and I'll keep going. I might even like switch my arms up. See how they're going wide, almost like a jumping jack? And then I'll go wider. And then I'll go really close together. And I'll do maybe the circling of the arm. So you see how you can kind of mix it all in, and then I'll go sagittal, which means one foot is in front of the other. Last few, guys. If you're just joining, I love the squatting. It's basically the most fundamental like exercise there is, besides like walking or bending over. Squatting, guys, just bending your knees, moving your arms, okay? Come on. All right, now we're just thinking movements. This next one's not as stimulating, but a lot more complex. So we're gonna widen our feet. It's totally coronal. It's the lateral movements. This seems simple, but it's really profound. You get lateral flexion, lateral tilt, and what we call abduction, adduction in the hip joint. And then look at this, boom. You start to move your body a lot. Now, again, it might just be like this for you, right? Just because I start to move a lot doesn't mean you necessarily should, yogis, all right? I exercise every day. I also am teaching classes, so my body's really used to moving a lot and challenging. And that's all the body is memory, okay? Injury basically happens from just not being used to this stuff. Go the opposite direction. You can go a little bit lower. You can add like arms. A nice big circular motion kind of from the core is what's happening. We tend to think of this as our core, but this is just as much core. Okay, hips, hip flexors, glutes, glute medius, even your adductors are considered a really big core muscle because they're stabilizing your pelvis, which is gonna, is your core, okay? And then I want to do the lunge work, the step back. We want to think full body movements. So coming kind of towards the top of your mat. How about we do the 3-part lunge today, okay? Let's start with the first part. Nice inhale. One foot goes back, the arms go up. Now I want you to think of this as our first really big back bend. Because you can see my back arches, my anterior tilt happens, okay? And then exhale. Same idea, you can even go like this. Inhale, exhale. I'm alternating. See how I'm gripping the hands behind? Inhale, exhale. We're gonna do just a few more of these movements, then we're gonna take it right down on the ground, okay? Now, how do we take any exercise and call it yoga? Yoga means union, or to yoke, to like connect. So we're working on these ideas. Really, it's like meditation practice, you could say. So we're trying to make this like a dynamic meditation, be more present and subtly aware, kind of slowing down the mind and connecting. You know, the yogis say at first it's very subjective, so you have to like learn to feel more. Oh, keep peeling away the layers of sensations, and how subtle can you be aware of the body messages and sensations. And then it's more like too, like observing thoughts, like how exercise and body stimulating is affecting your thoughts and emotions and your energy, and then using the breath better in the exercise to fuel the body, but also calm it, you know, to make it stronger, but also more just level. These are these deeper aspects of like yoga. Making it a meditation is how Iyengar said it. Oh, I can do all these different exercises in hatha yoga, but can you work on the meditative properties? Okay. So really meditation can be calm. So I mentioned a 3-part squat. Watch me here, yogis. So you were doing the step back. Now I want you to step to the back of your mat. I'm going to face this way so you can see. I'm going to step at an angle. So my right foot's going to go forward. My left arm's going to go up and over. And then I'm going to step back. My left foot's going to go forward to the angle. My right arm's going to go up and over. Side stretch. Okay? Pedigasana in yoga. But in fitness, let me just show you what we're doing. The first part was forward and back. The second part is here. But yogis, it's not really like an exact side stretch. It's more like an angled side stretch. So I'm here. This arm goes up across. So as I step angled, I stretch kind of back and over. Okay? It's a little confusing. No worries. It doesn't have to be perfect. See that? I think we've done this like once before. And then the next part eventually will be the lateral. So if you think of this, guys, the foot steps forward, we stretch back. The foot steps angled, we stretch angled. The foot steps lateral, we stretch lateral. Okay, so there's like, they call it the 3 planes of movement: forward, back, kind of angled or transverse, and side, lateral. So now that you're doing the side, the angled, let's try the side, right? So I step a foot this way, and I stretch here. So I want to start feeling the stretch more in the inner thigh, all right? And then I come back to center, I step left, and it's supposed to be like a lateral lunge, they call it. You know how we do this one? In a sense, same pattern. Right foot wide, right arm up and over, right knee bends. Left foot wide, left knee bends, left arm up and over. You feel that in there, right? It's kind of like a reverse warrior too. So you see that in yoga a lot, the same type of lunge patterns. Last few. So there's a lot of movement happening, right? We're kind of stepping places. We're stepping forward. We just step back. We're stepping angled. We're stepping side. Moving forward, we're stepping back. So it's a nice little kind of variety of how we're pivoting on the feet. It's all about teaching the body to move. Your body is designed to move, and there's so much scientific evidence about how a brain stays healthy via complex movements, right? There's such a difference between doing the same exercise routine for years, simple, versus complex movements. A lot of the new biomechanics, it's all going complex. But now we got to go symmetrical because I had you going crazy. Now, feet or hips width distance. This is called the symmetrical hip hinge. I did this yesterday, but with weight when I was exercising. So now that I'm getting very flexible and all this stuff, I'm adding some light weights. I still try to keep it meditative and kind to the body. As I inhale, I'm going to hinge forward. Remember, I always suggest starting bent knees. Exhale. Now, yesterday, I did do bent knee and straight leg, no weight for the first round, right? So now I'm going nice and slow here. Some of you are doing your own thing. You know I don't mind that. I don't mind if you show up and just use that group energy to do your whole own thing, okay? You go hinge, You come back up, you squeeze that butt again. That's that symmetrical work, all right? So we're hinging now. Pausing maybe, coming back up for that good posture. Now with practice, you keep your legs more straight. And how did I do it yesterday? I did round my spine. Now, would I suggest that to everyone in here? Probably not. You know, I might say don't do that to some of us. Because when our spine starts to round, we start to have tension literally like right in the arch of the back. But again, my body's used to all that, yogis. So I had 90 pounds, and I also had my legs inverted and dorsiflexed, and I had 90 pounds with straight legs, leaving my toes go way below my feet. And then I would come up nice and slow like that. But for you guys, the structured form to start, right? Last few, please. Ideally, like I said, you start with 6, maybe you get to 9 or 12, but really the ideal like standard is more like 15 to 20 reps. Once you can do 15, you can think about adding weight or going straight leg with straight spine. Then it's like straight leg with rounded spine. So it's like bent knee, straight spine. But then it's like straight, and then it's like straight, bend. So it goes opposite. First it was straight spine, then it was straight leg. Bent knee goes to bent spine. You see that kind of evolution of the movement? More dangerous as you go, okay? Bent knee, straight spine is safest. All right, guys, let's just come up to the top of the mat, please. I want to make it down to the ground. All right, if you'd like, a nice little yogi squat. You can touch your toes if you prefer. I exercise all the time without touching my toes, right? I know we do it in yoga like crazy, but breaking patterns is a good thing, okay? Instead of doing touch your toes, I would use down dog here, all right? So we're gonna step back eventually and pedal at our feet. Just kind of using that moment to get the head below the heart the first time for a lot of us, and getting into your toes, alternating the pedaling. It is important that every exercise routine you have some either stretching or strengthening in the feet. I did, hyper weighted calf raises yesterday. So, I let my heel go below and then I lift up. I did one-legged with about 25 pounds. It's about, 20-15% of my weight. So it's not that much. Let's say a couple chaturangas to get warmed up here. So no rush, but a nice inhale will shift you forward. If you want to add a few push-ups, if you want to do knees, chest, chin, if you want to hold the plank, everyone's a regular in here. So there's a little less, absolute instruction. It's more like we want to get into the arms a little bit and the weight. And we also want to start to do that more hyper back bending. So cobra, up dog. So a couple chaturangas or a couple push-ups. There's also the idea of skipping chaturanga and just kind of going up dog to down dog, just straight arm. It's good to do it in ways you normally don't. That's how you grow, yogis. Repetition is excellent and it is king in exercise, but it's, the other side of that coin is the new approach. You got to confuse your muscles like every exercise routine a little. And what I meant by that is this, right? I'm never bending my arms. I'm never even bringing the top of the feet down. And that would be more of a dynamic stretch approach. All right. Now I want to meet here. Some of you are done there. I just kind of keep going. I'm going to sit on the heels. So I do want to stretch out my ankles because we're going to start to go for the slow mobility drills for both your abs, back, and hips. So I want to stretch the top of my feet in every class. And let's go big today. So you might have to widen your knees or separate your feet a tiny bit. And now look, I'm going to lean back a little. Now to start, I lift one knee. So it's hard to see. I have black pants on. I know whenever I watch my videos and I wear black pants, I'm like, I have to stop doing that because you guys can't see my legs in contrast. So I'm lifting my knee to get a really big stretch through my front shin. Okay? And then you can try your other. Today for me is shin raise day, right? So as long as I feel up to it later, I'm gonna work out after this class, and shin raise day. I pretty much do calf raise and shin raise twice each week. So that's 4 days a week. I'm getting strong into my ankles, which are working up through the knee, taking a lot of pressure out of the hips, making my feet a lot stronger. So right now, both knees are lifting. You might feel a really intense stretch through the front of your foot, ankle, or shin. That's our point, all right? All right, so now we're gonna go right for the slow mobility drill. And if I could demonstrate quickly what's about to happen, okay? So we're gonna start here, you guys know this. We're not gonna do this thing, all right? What we're gonna do is turn the right hip down. I'm gonna first cue you to go here, squeeze your butt to your heel, but don't let your back arch, pull the ribs in, heel to butt, right? And then I'm gonna have you turn your right knee slowly out. So now I'm in that like fire hydrant posture, but the knee is still back, right? It's not up towards my shoulder yet. So then you're gonna hold here. That's the difference between medial and lateral rotation only. And then I'm gonna have you come wide with it, and then I'm gonna have you pause here, and then I'm gonna say lift your foot higher, lift your foot higher, lift your knee higher, lift your foot higher, okay? Then I'm gonna say bring it to the shoulder, hold. And then I'm gonna have you bring it under, and then we're gonna go back around here and here. So that's that in a nutshell. So let's get started. Right leg lifts. Okay, now we're just holding a little bit more today, guys. A little bit different, okay? A little bit more subtle. Now pull your ribs in, your belly in, lift that left heel, flex that left foot, hold. Right foot, I'm doing left just to balance out a little bit. Now point your toe and squeeze your heel to your butt and hold. Now notice that makes me want to arch my back. Pull your lower belly in, lift that right femur bone, that's the big thigh bone, and squeeze your heel to your butt. So pull your ribs in, lift your thigh bone, squeeze your heel to your butt, okay? Hold. Now really slowly, don't change anything. Keep the thigh bone where it is. Just turn that hip open, okay? You can flex your foot again. So I'm not here yet. I'm still back here with the thigh. And I'm lifting the knee higher. So try to lift that knee back up in space, okay? Higher than that foot. That's lateral rotation. You can drop the foot a little lower, lift the knee a little higher. Not easy to do, not easy to see here. Lift that left side body. Now go slow, bring the knee wide, Okay, hold. So now I'm in that more fire hydrant posture you're accustomed to. Now lift the outer edge of your right foot really high. And then now that's medial from lateral. So you can see the structure if you know your biomechanics. So we're here. See how the foot's going higher than the knee? Then lift the knee a little higher, and then lift the foot a little higher. If this is burning and torturing you, you are doing it correct. Core work is not easy. All right, now bring the knee more close to the shoulder. So like a hyper wide open hip. Okay, yep, knee toward the shoulder. And now go slow, bring it under the body across. So right knee toward left elbow tricep. You know, the crazy stuff is when we do this in plank pose, right? So I'm here across. I'm actually squeezing my thighs together too. So you were here, and now you're here. And I'm trying to touch my right knee to my left armpit, but I'm also squeezing the inner right shin to the inner left thigh. So I'm really hugging together. All right, now go really slow. One more time through. Inhale, right leg goes back and up. If you need to shake it out and cat-cow it, I understand. You know, just push yourself a little bit here. Okay, now don't let your lower back arch. Lift the leg higher and then bend the knee. So right heel to butt, we're still on the same leg. Now point your toe. This is supreme core work, yogis, okay? We're really pushing it. We haven't done this in a while. Now lift that right femur bone. That's the big upper hip leg bone, the long bone, right? Now pull your ribs in and squeeze your heel to your butt. Point the toe. Point the toe like a dancer foot. Now don't change the position of your femur, just rotate it. So you open your hip in a sense. Okay, so that's more like that warrior three, and then it's more like the half moon. So my right leg is still back, yogis, but lift your left knee higher. Lift your, your right knee. Lift your right knee higher. That's the lateral rotation aspect, okay? Now go slow. Bring the right knee toward the right shoulder. But not all the way yet. It's kind of in line with the other thigh. And then lift your right knee. And then I want you to try to lift the right foot higher. Flex it. That's the meter rotation quality now. So it's the opposite of the first part. I lost a lot of these already. Just come back when you can. No big deal. You look at these achiness and soreness is showing your body's adapting, getting strong. Now bring it all the way to the shoulder. Right knee to right shoulder. Okay? Don't let your back arch. Don't let your shoulders dip and deviate. Keep them even. Now lift that knee up and out. And then go ahead, cross it under to your left armpit. So right knee, left armpit. It's only the weight of your legs, yogis. You got this. All right, this is a good way to strengthen your hips if you don't like to use weights. All right. The key is to put a lot of tension and compression through those and keep it. Try to hug the thighs toward each other. It's a very strong scissoring action. That's your inner thighs, okay? The opposite in the sense of what we were just doing. Okay, now big inhale. Take a little breather. Bring your right knee down. Shake out your hips if you want to go to dog or child pose. I got to give you a moment there because if a lot of you aren't doing this type of stuff regularly, which the way I do it is standing more on like a wobble board, right? So standing will be more difficult than this, which maybe we'll try if we have time. All right, let's do our second leg. So tabletop position. This first round is very slow. Uh-oh, somebody just left class. They don't like this, unless they got kicked out. All right, so we got tabletop position. You got to press that right foot down. Here we go. Left leg rises. Start by flexing your foot and straightening your leg. Think warrior 3. So pinky toe of left foot has to face down. So your left hip has to drop down. Your femur bone and your abdomen lift up. Straighten your knee and flex your foot. So it's like the opposite of sitting on the ankles like we were, bending the knee deep and pointing the toe. So now it's the flexing of the foot. It's the opposite contrast, counter pose in yoga they call it. Now here we go. Keep that femur bone high, bend the heel to the butt, point the toe. So you want to squeeze your heel to your butt as much as possible, lift your femur bone as much as possible, but pull your belly in as much as possible to counter any what we call tension pull compensations. So you got to feel that subtle thing. That's the yoga. What is my body doing without me noticing? How can I make this more intelligent and intentional? Okay, now hold that, pull the belly in, squeeze the heel to butt. First round's a little bit longer. Come on, you got to hold that. Just that part. Okay, now go really slow. Just rotate your left femur bone laterally. So your femur bone stays back in space, doesn't go wide yet toward the shoulder. You just turn your hip open. It's almost like you're going a half moon. And you want to now bring your knee higher than your foot slightly. So you're turning it open like that. So if you want a quick demo, some of you just look a little confused there. You're here, right, first. And then it's just open. I'm not here yet. I'm just back here rotating. So that's like our lateral part where the knee is trying to go higher in a sense than the foot, but the foot is still like back. See how it's crossed behind me? All right, let's go wide now. Now I'm here in that fire hydrant posture you're used to. Lift the knee high, but then lift the foot higher. So subtle variations. Now I'm dipping down in the right. Try to straighten out through the core. Foot higher than knee, foot higher than knee. That's stabilizing your hip joint. That's main hip stabilizer, okay? Foot higher than knee. Now, bring the knee as close as you can to your left shoulder. See, a lot of times we're doing all the big movements, but now we're really in the subtle, all right? This stuff is tough if you're not used to it, but it's gonna make you very strong. Now listen, left knee under the right armpit. Hold. Hip, and I always like to say, like, hips are more core. They sound weird, but more core than your abs, right? Glutes mean pelvic stabilizer with transverse abdomen. Rectus abdominis is not, it's a very superficial muscle. It's important, but overdone, right? Now let's do one more time. So let's go back to our straight leg. So left leg back, up, flex foot, straighten knee, pull ribs in. So that's a straight leg first. So that's like a warrior 3, all right? Yep, pull your ribs in more, lift your femur bone more, that opposite. As I lift my femur, it wants to anterior tilt, but you got to work abdomen in a little bit. Now bend that knee, butt to heel to butt, and point the toe, so opposite there. You got to drop that left hip down now, yogis. Some of you are starting to open. That's a compensation too. Go slow, be subtly aware.
This is torturous, I know. Now go really slow. Just rotate externally the left femur, the hip. So it's like you're going a half moon. Your hips can stack a little bit. That's fine. I won't be too critical there. This is tough to do over Zoom. See the subtle stuff you guys are doing. Now try to get the knee, in a sense, a little higher, still back where it was in that kind of first position. It's just opened up, externally rotated or laterally rotated. So you can push your heel back behind you a little bit more. It's almost like a scorpion or a three-legged dog in a sense. You lift the knee higher, 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 but uplift your right arm and ribs a little bit. Don't compensate there. And now bring the left knee wide. Yeah, bring the left knee wide. So it's that fire hydrant posture. You're not bringing it to the shoulder yet. It's kind of halfway to the side. Now lift the left knee higher, flex that foot again, and then lift the foot higher than the knee. So that's the medial rotation. So it's almost like your hip angles inward or internally. I do the, people always confused. I say lateral and medial, and that's a little bit more of like a technical term. External, internal is also works here. So it'd be an internal rotation in the femur or hip. Okay, now go really slow. Left knee to shoulder. You're in the end here. I'm not going to make you do a reverse motion today. All right, this is a good start. If you work hard here, this is going to be enough. You're going to be sore because it's minutes in this type of tension. All right, left knee, left tricep, and then boom, left knee, right armpit. Last part, hyper adduct, squeeze the inner left shin and thigh to the right thigh, but also flex now. So we did strong extension and abduction. So now you're in flexion, adduction. So it's the other side of that coin we were working hard on in the beginning. So sometimes if you tire yourself out too much in the beginning, you lack in the, counter actions here. You got to kind of rest and then do this with quality. So I just hope you see what's happening. It's a really slow rotational circle of the biggest joint and biggest muscles in the human body that all counter each other. Left knee down, please shake it out.
So what do we got to do? We got to kind of just tighten that up, and ideally it's a little bit more static. That is considered moving exercise, even though it seems static, it would be under like dynamic, probably. So I'm going to bring you down to the forearms, guys, all right? And I'm just going to hit you in the plank. Some days we'll do a lot of planks. I don't do really enough. It's a very simple thing you could do on your own. So a nice little forearm plank would be good. All right, you lengthen through your core. Try to squeeze your butt in your thighs. Kind of tighten everything up together now. After that, like very achy, asymmetrical positions. Just close your eyes for a few breaths. If you want to do a more advanced plank, you're more than welcome. Remember the idea, if you'd rather do dolphin here, if you'd rather do forearm balance here, those all fill what I'm trying to do. All right, yogis, let's bring it down to the chest, and we're going to do something here. It's a little bit more stretch-like. So think big stretch. It's been a while. It's been pretty stiff. Chaturangas, hip. Chaturangas is a little bit more like front and back body, and then that was more the rotational body. Stiffen it all up. I'm going to come down onto my chest. Now, I'm going to widen my arms. This is a little different, yogis. So we've done this before. It's been a while. So my right arm will, as I roll right, my right arm is going to go up here. Okay, so watch me here. Now that's the first version. My left foot does go behind me, but the full version looks more like this. My left knee slides up to where my little puppy is, and I twist. So you guys know this. This is our biggest twist so far, and that's why I'm using it. A little bit more movement based though. You're not used to rolling probably this way, right? So I'm going to come back. My left arm kind of reaches a little bit more forward. My right knee slides up out, and then I reach up and out. So biggest range of motion so far, basically. Okay? Right arm up and open. I'm reaching up and open. Okay? And then I'm going to come back to center. Right arm kind of goes forward. Left knee goes up and wide. And then I'm going to roll to my left. It's reclining spinal twist, but the downward facing dynamic entrance. Okay? If it's too much, you could lay on your back and do this one. but I was having you move from the upper body, okay? So last demo, a little faster if you need to see it. See how as I roll left, my left knee goes opposite. It goes kind of over to the right in a sense. It's actually over to the left, but as I'm on my back, it seems like it's the right. Does everyone get it? In a sense, you're kind of doing, you know, this right here, yogis. So as I go here, my left knee comes here, and then I go here. Hopefully that makes sense. Sometimes I leave some of these movements out because they're kind of confusing to see in Zoom. Any of these work, we do this one here, where you go like this. I mentioned this one. They're all, in a sense, very similar. So we're going to try something now. Take a moment to come to your chest here. If you want to windshield wipe your knees. So this might be easy for some of us, but I want you to try it today. It's 2 parts, okay? Now, what I'm going to start with is my arms to the T, but 90-degree angles. So think field goal post with your arms. Now, you can bring your forehead down, depends on how you're comfortable, chin down. You know, chin forward is kind of tough, but lift down or forehead down, okay? Try to engage your legs a little bit, and I just want you to lift your arms, maybe like 3 inches off the ground. And then I'm going to have you try to squeeze your elbows back together behind you, and then reach your arms all the way forward. Lift them up a little bit higher, okay? Bring the elbows back, bring the arms forward. All the while they're hovering. So in a sense, on my chest with my arms hovering, my legs are active, toes are pointed, okay? I'm just basically going like this with my arms hovering. You know, guys, this is a class that I like to break down the walls of sometimes the traditional yoga movements, all right? That's why I call it core and mobility, because here you have to be very active and you're attempting to move through range. That's the definition of like a mobility drill. We just did one. That hip movement was really, really the definition of like a mobility drill, all right? A lot of strength and a lot of range and a lot of control. So you're doing that in a sense with the arms now, all right? Come on, over here, over here. All right, now let's go slow, yogis. Now I want you to do it again, but with arms straight. So a little bit different, arms lift. Now listen, I'm gonna reach my arms forward and turn my palms up and hold. Engage my legs and my butt, point my toes. And then I'm gonna reach my arms down and wide and turn my palms up and lift them up. Okay? So a little bit different way to train our arms today. Arms are gonna go slowly. Now as I go wide, palms are face down. Let's call that neutral rotation. And then as I go forward, they turn up, so it's lateral max. And I lift higher. And then I'm gonna go wide, more neutral. You can lift a little higher. That'll probably be your best lift. And then I wanna go back, palms go up and lift them up. See if you can like touch your thumb and like index finger and lift up. And then I go wide. And then I go forward, palms up, but lateral rotation. So in a sense, yogis, if you need to see it, you're starting here, all the while arms hover, my palms externally rotate, lateral, and then I'm here, and then I go wide, and it's medial here. Try it.
Nice, Brian. Nice, Stephen. Nice, Leslie. This is the therapeutics, yogis, you know, learning to move our body a lot, but also maintain strength. Yeah, if may collapse out of this stuff, that's fine. Just go slow, you know, take a little rest when you need. You know, we just did the really strong hips, which is lower back strain. So now we're really hitting the shoulder scapular girdle. All right. Some of these are, taking breaks. That's good stuff. That's the point. You need to train until your body and mind struggle, and you kind of have to call it quits. That's how you're going to get better, by approaching that level where you're intimidated. You know that old saying, it's like you got to do something every day that scares you. Same in yoga practice. You got to do something that's kind of intimidating. Okay. Now let's lower down. Now I want to do one more thing for the hips here. I want to focus on meter rotation. What you see a lot in yoga is all these laterally rotated strengtheners. There are a few medial that I teach that are just subtle, but this is a really nice isolated mobility version. I'm going to just lay here like this. My left foot is straight on my mat. My right knee goes wide. You might have to pad your knee here, okay? My target is my right hip with my right knee out. So I'm going to go here. Now, all I'm going to do is try to press the inner right thigh down. Inner right thigh down. Don't roll to the side. You're on your chest. And I'm going to lift the outer edge of my right foot, and I'm going to hold. So you're like this on your chest, just so you can see. You're kind of like this, right? So you're like this in this 90-degree angle. It's kind of like a half moon, but instead of like half moon, we lateral like crazy. I want you to medial. So you're in a sense going like this. Now I ask you to hold. So from the side, you're on the chest. You're kind of like this, and you're going like that. I said to push the inner right thigh down. Right? So you're here, yogis. 90-degree angle in hip and in knee. And you're going here. It's pretty simple. My leg's not out like this. It's not tucked in. It's a 90-degree angle in the knee. It's pretty simple. It shouldn't be too strenuous. Notice I'm going down, not all the way. I go up all the way. Down about 75%, up. It's a subtle one. Try it. When I did the arm mobility drill, I hold like a 5-pound weight. That is so difficult to do that chest stuff. We're doing 5-pound weight. When I did this like last week. I have ankle weights. I have the gymnast ones that go 1 pound, add to 10, and then I have a 5-pound one, and I have the ankle weight on here. My hips are just too mobile. I need a little bit more strengthening now. So that's why this practice is going to be different for every person. When I exercised Sunday, I literally stretched and foam rolled only for about 1.5 hours. I didn't do anything else. My body was just not feeling it. And then I felt really good yesterday, so I worked really hard. I worked out for about 2.5 hours. Today's another strong day. The way you guys are, in class, it might not be your day, but you're still here. So you got to kind of adjust accordingly. Make sure you do your second side now. 1 round only. Okay, you're here. Again, I could have you do this standing, but there's going to be a lot more compensation. Your right knee or your left knee, for most of it, is out at a 90-degree angle. Okay, and you push the inner kind of thigh down. Make sure you pad your knee so that doesn't hurt. And then the outer edge of your left foot lifts. We've done this drill. If you want a quick demo, the 290 degrees, and I go here, and I go like that. That's going to be a more difficult way to do this. I should have said that if you wanted it. You guys see me good there? Okay, that is the next level. And then standing is final level, right? So you're here, and you go. We do it like this too. But going all the way lateral is the double glute medius, all right? You guys feel that in the outer, like upper back hip? Just to be clear, that tends to be a sore spot for a lot of people because glute max is too weak. I do a lot of glute max strengthening. On Sunday, we did glute max class. So now glute medius a little extra, right? A little less emphasis on glute max. So glute medius is this upper outer hip muscle, whereas glute max, let's call it like the big butt cheek muscle, okay? All right, guys, you guys look down there. Maybe take a little child pose, maybe take a little chaturanga. Take 30 seconds to neutralize sensations while I check my little class list here. All right, so hopefully you guys have a little yoga block. We're gonna meet in yogi squat, but I'd like you to have a block today, all right? So the idea of mobility, again, is to bring strength
into range of motion. A lot of times what happens in yoga is we're like certain stretches are in ranges of motion that we never apply strength to. I talk about that a lot. So now we're in a supported yoga squat, it's called. I don't want your hands on your knees. If anything, they're forward or, in prayer. So what I'm going to ask you to do is shift forward and lift your butt a few inches and hold. Okay? So it's this active squat, active squatting. Okay? And then I'm going to drop down for a moment, try to keep my spine nice and tall. So that's it. We're going to hold for about 10 seconds. We'll take a quick breather. Okay? Lift up, hold. Try to keep your heels down. So if you need to stack 2 blocks, that's good, okay? Then sit on your block, take a breather. The real difficult version is to stay longer, right? And you go up another inch. When I say sit down, just go up 1 more inch. And then when we come back up, everyone go back up, then you would go down an inch. But the longer holds with the subtle variation of inches is the more difficult option. But we haven't done this in a while, so easier option. We are really challenging your lower back today. Okay, drop down your butt. Just about 3 more here, guys. All right, now go really slow, lift the butt up. It's like the lowest chair pose or squatting without dumping down, all right? But then I let you get a break. You sit on the blocks again, all right? Take a breath. Eventually you do this on one leg, right? They call these like, in yoga or just in fitness in general, right? You'll be here and you'll go here if you want to go crazy, okay? Last 3, guys, go ahead. Don't let your knees buckle in. Don't let your knees buckle in. Try to relax the traps. Okay, sit on the block. It depends on your ability here. I can hold a lot longer there because I'm used to it. I also squat with weight there. So go ahead, lift up. You're going to be feeling this stuff in your lower back. That's your core. Once you fatigue, it shows how much lower back achiness here exposes your weakness. Anytime you're doing a core work and you start to fatigue or get lazy, it's going to dump in the arch of the lower back, right here. Take a breather. Last round, guys, last round. Sit on your block for a moment, and then go ahead. Lift up and hold. This one, I want you to go a little bit longer. It's your final round, and then it's frontline tension, so it's counter. It's going to be really hip flexor dominant, all right? Be quadricep, whereas this is really in a lengthened back position. The back line's going to shorten, and the front body will do the lengthening tension. All right, hold, hold, hold. Maybe bounce a little, a little. Okay, now go slow. Sit on your block, slowly come to your knees. Maybe if you need a vinyasa, a cat-cow, it might feel good to take a little cobra. I haven't really instructed that as a group, but that's the idea now, is to straighten your legs, extend your spine, your hips. That's the opposite of yoga squat. No, you gotta go to your bed. Gotta go to your bed. Come on. All right, one of my all-time favorite exercises here, yogis, is the lean back. I don't know the technical name here. It's from like knee rehab series. I actually did knee rehab this week and I didn't cover it because it's like an advanced method in a sense. But anyone that's coming to yoga core, I hope is feeling pretty good. So feet are parallel, down, all right? I don't want to see this. I don't want to see this. I want to see the spine nice and tall. If you're not used to this, you're going to feel it around the knee. That's because it strengthens all those muscles. So what I'm going to do is start to press my feet down. Now the idea is to squeeze your butt as you go back. That's going to not let this happen. So I want to squeeze those glutes and start to lean back, okay? And then you're going to kind of hold for a moment, squeeze the butt, kind of lift your chest a little bit more. And then you're going to come back up here. That's the exercise. You could counterbalance here. And then you're going to come back up. And I'd like you to do a few more. When I do this,
Today is frontline day for me. Yesterday I did, well, 2 days ago I did hip thrusts, so butt. Yesterday I did straight leg hamstring, curled hamstring, and calf, and back muscle. Now today I did front upper body though, right? So I did front chest, front shoulder. So I did front upper body, back lower body. Today's front lower body, back upper body. So right now it's like, we do call this peak front body. So I don't hold planks. They're just basically too easy for me. And I can hold a plank for 10 minutes. It just takes too long to get it just wastes time. So this is what I do. All right. It's basically similar, or I'll do hollow body stuff like we do on our back. Okay. Take a little breather. Does everyone feel that? You know, if you could add an exercise to your routine that's just body weight, that's really safe. The key is to just go really slow. They call this reverse Nordic. This is like the technical name actually. And then it does get more advanced, but we're gonna keep it here today, okay? So let's do one more round, okay? Let me see. You see, Steven, you feel that around the knee? Sometimes runners like have more sensitive knees, you know, and there's always like, you know, these context, right? Like, you know, with someone who runs 5 miles, 5 days a week, probably you're gonna be feeling this a lot more, right? So when in doubt, just go an inch. All you're asking to do, it's called tension strength. So your front line lengthens. You don't get that in plank really, even though that is a type of anti-extension. And this is as well. Your knees are bent here, so you get a different line. It's a little lean back and a little forward. Now, when you're really warmed up, you know, you can start to really go further, right? So, and you can see my hips start to flex, right? That's not ideal. The ideal is to keep your butt nice and tight as you go back. So last couple, guys. All right, guys, so, you know, we've done, hips are done. That was our front, because a lot of us, when we were doing this like slow hip drill, you didn't get that super strong front line. And I do want to do a last thing or two here on the back. I know we like to hit our abs in this practice. So let me keep going since we only got about 12 minutes left. You're going to swing your legs around, come to your back. You're going to come to, this is what I mentioned, hollow body. So that's very hip flexor and quad dominant. You're really not going to get that much abs. Remember that your hip flexors have way more potential strength than your abs. Way more, right? So what I'm going to do today is hook my foot under a kettlebell, and I'm going to lift and hold it like that. It's very torturous. I can only do really about 30 pounds there, but that hip flexor muscle gets so much stronger. So let's go right up, inhale. Arms go up. If you'd like to do the whole thing, inhale, legs forward, little lift, then lift the chest higher. Inhale, exhale. So now, where the front line was down in the quads, now it's hip flexors, low abdomen, and upper abdomen. So it's like a little leg go forward, maybe a little pop in the pelvis, and then the arms are going to reach up, bringing the chest with it in space. Not forward with the arms, up, guys. And then if you'd like to do it, one last thing here for the twisting abs. So a little less kind of crunch abdominal work today. I bring my hands together and then I just kind of pulse to the outer left side. I'm not alternating right now. I'm just basically here, pulsing outside. If you want more, your opposite leg can go straight.
If you want a lot, you're still in twist, but with both legs extended. Okay? Last few, if you want to try it. And this is kind of even more middle ground. Today's been a lot of strength yogis, minimal stretching, right? Remember that mobility should increase range of motion as well. Make sure you do both sides. That's what I'll teach for the abs today. You got your twisting, we did a plank, we did some other very subtle stuff, a lot of pulling the belly in. No side plank stuff today. You know, there's only so much we can do if we have a focus every week. So let's just lay on our back and do our opposite here. So I'm just gonna lay onto my left side here. Right foot goes in front of me, and I'm just gonna do this one. Inner left foot lifts up. Now you can hold, lift higher, lower down, lift up again. Ow, no, what you doing? My right foot's in front of me, I'm lifting my inner thigh up. This is from Therapeutics, it's really good, it's not that strenuous. I think they do this in Pilates. You want to go, like I said, with no weight there. The standard is like 15 to 20 or even 30 reps. You know, it's like this little bounce because you're not going to get much range, okay? What does that do? Activation of adductor and straight leg reciprocally inhibits the outer hip. Remember where you're feeling a lot of tension on the outer hip? This is a way we can release muscles without just stretching. Second side, please. Left foot in front of me. Pad the head however it feels good. Lift that inner right leg. Hold, go down and up, and then pulse. Remember, there's the idea of, in any exercise, holding static. We call that isometric. I can already feel, yogis, that took a lot of pressure out of my outer hips. There's the idea of like going up and holding. There's the idea of dynamic, bigger movements. And then there's the idea of like ballistic, where you're pulsing on like an end range, whether it's stretching or strengthening, the ballistic on the end range, active or lengthening quality. So this is our last kind of active thing we're gonna do here, guys. We're kind of like this on our side. Nice, Brian. Nice, Dessa. Nice, Dawn. That's it, Christine. Everyone I can see look pretty good. Some of you are look done with strength. You know that's cool with me too. You've done a lot. Because after this, I'm going to give you a stretch or two to end practice, okay? We're going to do the rotational stretches because there was so much hip stuff. If there's other stretches you want to do, that's totally fine with me, okay? So it's one round of that only. I'm not using it as a peak strengthener. I'm using it as a reciprocal inhibitor, where we reciprocally inhibit the outer hips, okay? Adduction. So listen, we're gonna come run to our back. Now what I'm gonna teach is rotational stretch into restorative bridge. If there's other things you wanna do, a twist, a big forward bend, that's on you, okay? It starts with figure 4 or Gomukhasana. Right ankle atop left knee, few breaths. Head, sacrum down if you can. It starts like this, curling and lifting. Try to bring everything back down, even your shoulders. Breathe. So listen, guys, this is lateral rotation stretch for the right hip. Try to do now the opposite leg thing. My left foot goes down. My left foot walks to the left. My right foot, still same side of the angle. I cross that ankle more on the knee, and then my knees fall right. Some people say it's a spinal twist. Not really, a little bit, right? But it's more of like a huge medial hip rotation. Weight bearing on the left hip. Close your eyes, take a few breaths. Maybe widen your arms. Maybe let your head fall to the left. Now go slow, yogis. Big inhale. Back to center. I don't want you to hold that one too long. Remember, it is a weight-bearing stretch. Okay, if you want a little neutralizer. Left ankle eventually on top of right knee. Thread the needle. And you just kind of, slowing down now. The second part is, my favorite meter rotation activation. So it is going to search your lateral rotators. If the right foot goes down, walks to the right, the left ankle more on the right outer knee, and then you go left. I usually use like Virasana to stretch medial. Now go slow, yogis. Listen, near the end of class, we didn't do many big stretchy back bends. We did Cobra. So maybe get one in here. If you want to do restorative fish or restorative bridge, this might be really good because hip flexors, going something like this. If you want to do active bridges, nice and soft, that's cool. Anything else is fine. One more stretch kind of on a personal level here. You could even go legs up, but that is hip flexion. Just notice my block. It's underneath my sacrum / coccyx. The fused vertebrae in the pelvis. It's not in my lower back arch. Trying to get those hips to the highest point or forward point in the body. How about we say another minute and a half, and then we'll do our group closing meditation. So we'll probably go about 2 to 3 minutes over past 10 o'clock, okay?
Nice, Brian. Some of you are still going strong. I like to see that. So you got another good 45 seconds here. And just a reminder, guys, that this is a class that can induce, a lot of soreness that feels very achy, particularly around your lower back and hips. And, ideally tomorrow, if that happens, more like dynamic movements and kind of therapeutic self-care like foam rolling or trigger point work or just kind of like yin stretching is fantastic for that. Hot and cold therapy, I'm a huge fan of. Extra kind of meditative, relaxing, extra movement. You want blood flow through there. So, soreness is a sign of change and growth. It's a sign that the body had to and is adapting to the need, to the stimulus, which is strengthening and mobility. So just to be clear, this class can cause a lot of deep soreness. All right. It's one of the strongest per week usually. So, tomorrow night at 5:30, I'm going to do a special class, yoga with a chair. Really awesome stretching that you can't do as much in yoga. Different strengtheners that you can't do in yoga. It is going to be stretch heavy, just to be clear, but there will be some strengtheners. So tomorrow night, it's going to be yoga with a chair. Doesn't mean it's going to be necessarily easy. I'm going to give options, but we're going to see how we can use a chair as a really nice prop to do some different and unique yoga type positions and movements. Okay, so listen guys, last 10 seconds here, we're going to do our closing meditation. So your goal is to just get comfortable and to just relax your body and your breath and your eyes, and you kind of just soften the body as much as possible, calming the heart rate, calming the nervous system. Let's do about 2 to 3 minutes if you have time. All right, final pose.